have lovely small feet, the best in the family.
We end up taking a poll. Who has the best feet on the swamp?
Tough competition. Honestly, I wish I could do that line justice. The way that Florence Pugh, pretending to be 12 years old with those clip-on bangs, just showed up to fucking serve, swerve, and deliver her lines like no other.
Honestly, I think this is probably, for a lot of the actors in this movie, my favorite performance of many of theirs. I think this is my favorite Timmy performance. This is probably my favorite Florence performance. I don't know about Saoirse. I think this is Emma Watson. Watson. I think this is Emma Watson's best performance because she literally just is Meg.
Okay, we can talk about how we feel about everyone's performances in this, but I'm like, damn, all these March sisters came to play, and then she's just there. Like, damn, I guess that's how Meg is just Megging, and she's just
exactly
like. But I'm like, damn, Emma Watson cannot hold a candle to these hoes. I'm like, her British accent is fighting for its life not to split, like, to push through, and she is just trying. And I'm like, every scene, I'm like, where even is she? I just can't even, like,
she's holding on to the reins, like, she has...
Yeah. I mean, Emma Watson is fine, but she just, like, cannot act like how Saoirse Ronan can fucking act, like...
Yeah. But
it's MAYryl Streep, haven't you heard? And we are covering only Meryl Streep movies this month here on The Swamp, which is our podcast. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting. I'm Emily. I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Dara. Dara, how are you?
Oh my god, I'm okay. You and I are both drinking some coffee today. Mm-hmm. Usually we're like nighttime recorder people, but we're doing this like smack in the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. I'm like on the clock at my job. I've got emails coming in being like, we need you to make more infographics about state finance. And I'm like, sorry, I have to think about how little women are. Like, they're so small. How are they? They're so little. These women are so little, and yet there are so many of them. So can we... Quantitatively, I'm thinking that these women are probably...
How many women could you fight? Multiple little women or one very large woman?
You either have to fight Marmee or all four sisters. Which one are you picking? I'm picking the sisters, because Beth's already sick, Amy's 12, Joe's gonna kick my ass. She's the boss at the end.
Joe's gonna give me a fight, but, like, I know that Marmee has that like hidden rage that she's locked away for the last like 17 years of raising her daughters. Like, I don't want to even begin to be on the other side of that.
I know she knows how to lay it down. And then after her, you have to fight Meryl Streep, who just gives you a side-eye glance and you just die of embarrassment.
If you actually make it to the end, the award that you get is a kiss on the forehead from Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk showing up and saying the name of the movie is enough of a reward for me. I would do anything.
Is that the only scene he has in the entire movie? Because I swear it is.
Yes. And like the wedding. Woman. He's like there at the wedding.
Mm-hmm. My little Bob Odenkirk.
But if you couldn't tell, we're covering the 2019 Greta Gerwig Little Women this week, which is arguably more of a Saoirse Ronan movie, more of a Laura Dern movie, more of a Florence Pugh movie than it is a Meryl Streep movie, but she surely is there and she serves cunt as she always does.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would like to think that she kind of was just chilling on this set. Greta was like, hey, you want to do this? And she's like, sure, why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, this was light work for her, but she still slayed it.
I feel like I love those behind the scenes pictures of them eating Wendy's.
Oh my god.
Because that broke my brain, because I'm like, Meryl Streep knows what Wendy's is. That just doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't sit right with me that she knows what a 4 for $4 is. Like,
which R.I.P. Did you know they got rid of the 4 for $4?
Isn't it a 5 for $5 now, and it's just not as good?
It's a biggie bag.
Ew.
$5 biggie bag.
I don't want to.
Fucked up.
That's like when restaurants make you say something embarrassing, and you're like, "I'll have the chicken sandwich," and they're like, "Oh, you mean Big Greg's big swing dick and lickin' chicken sandwich? You mean that one?" And I'm like, I didn't want to say that, but thank you for making your menu so embarrassing. I feel like cocktail menus too are so like guilty of this. It's just a fucking like it's a mule. And they call it, like, Big Bucky's Kickin' Mule. And I'm like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say Biggie Bag. It's already embarrassing enough that I'm having dinner at Wendy's.
Yeah, literally. But, yeah, no. I love it, too, because she was definitely the person, from what I heard, that she was like, I need French fries. Can someone get us some French fries? Kind of shit.
She's like, I'm in 47 layers of, like, girdles right now, and I'm simply not having it. She's like, the craft services here in Massachusetts kind of fucking sucks. Do you remember when they were filming this? It was a big deal, because
yes, it was a huge deal. Well, you know people that, like, saw them, that, like, served them coffee and all that shit.
Yeah, they were only in Massachusetts for, like, a short, like, I think some of the movie was filmed in Mass, but not necessarily all of it,
No, definitely not.
I think, yeah, they were around, but they, like, blocked off full streets to be like, nobody can fucking none of you stank-ass townies can get near Meryl Streep. If you come even within 10 blocks of her, she will, like, explode because of your Boston rage. But I think a lot of it was in Cambridge, so it was in, like, the nice part of northern Boston.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were just,
like
hanging. They were just chilling.
Yeah. Which, I mean, mind you, isn't that where Louisa May Alcott is from? You would know. You dressed up as her.
Yeah, I think she's from Concord.
Okay.
The book is set in Concord, at least. Her house is not, like, in the city. She just lived in, like, some town in Mass. I think it's Concord, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I dressed up as Louisa May Alcott in the 3rd grade. Did your school have a thing where everyone got a historical figure and, like, you had to, like, do a day where you dressed up as them and then you all, like, gave a little presentation? Like,
we had something like that. It was called the Parade of States. And so basically it was the 4th grade, I believe. And you went and you got a state, and all year you would work on, it was like basically the first time you worked on like a big essay project. And so you would, like, I got Idaho, and I had to tell you all about Idaho's agriculture, what they're known for, blah, blah, blah,
potatoes.
Blah, blah. You have to,
Done.
It's actually the gem state. It's the gem state, Dara, thank you.
What? For what gem? Is the potato secretly...
I mean...
Is the name gem in reference to the gem of my heart, which is the starch of potato?
No, I guess they have, like, really rich, like, soil and shit like that. That's, like... I don't know, dog. This was 10 plus years ago. But anyway, so we had to make, like, a float, which is basically just on, like, a little wagon. And you have to dress up as someone from... that state. There's not a lot of famous people from Idaho, so I was racially insensitive, and I was Sacagawea as a 4th grader.
Sacagawea was from Idaho?
I mean, there's a lot of... here's the thing. There's a lot of speculation about where she was from. There was another girl who also dressed up as Sacagawea, because she had South Dakota.
Also white.
It was beef. Yeah, also white. Yeah, we were beefing real hard that day, but...
Wow, you had to get a rumored person from Idaho. You couldn't even get a real Idahoan.
Yeah, if anyone could tell me... Yeah, if anyone out there listening has a better famous person from Idaho that I could have been, please tell me. Please shame me.
So we can time travel back and right your wrongs. But in preparation for my little project, my mom took me to Louisa May Alcott's house, which is now like a little museum. And you get to just like walk through it and see, because obviously Little Women is very much like based off of her. It's pretty autobiographical. Because
she's Jo March.
The book ends with Jo writing Little Women. Like, duh. Like, obviously...
I'm assuming that she had 3 sisters.
I don't know. I don't remember. But the only thing I do remember is that the gift shop was, like, really trying to push hard. These little pillows... It was like a little, like, 6-inch by 6-inch little pillow that had, like, a little string on the end so you could hang it up on a doorknob. And, like, one side said something like, pleased, and the other side just was blank. And I guess back in those days, like, all the girls would have these little pillows, and they'd put them on their door, and if, like, the happy side was out, you knew they were in a good mood, but if the bad side was out, it was, like, leave me alone. It was, like, the old-timey way for, like, the sisters to, like, get a vibe of, like, whose room can I storm into right now kind of thing. And they spent, like, half of the fucking tour of her house, like, talking about these pillows, like, really trying to get us to buy them. That's really all I remember, but it makes me think of my friend, her boyfriend on his, like, gaming desk has one of those little octopuses that you can, like, flip inside out.
I love those guys, yeah.
And it's, like, one side is happy and one side is angry, and every time I was there just, like, visiting my friend, I would flip the octopus to make it mad. And I guess they were using that as, like, a code between the two of them of, like, what kind of day he had had. But I'm out here just flipping it to the sad one all the time. And he's like, who is sending me these signals that, like, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was me just, like, touching your things without permission. Like, I'm just a bad person, like, accidentally making you think like, that there's, like, mood shifts happening. I'm like, oh god. But that was very Amy of me, I think. That was very Amy March of me.
Very Amy of you. Yeah, I would like to think that they went to Louisa May Alcott's house and got blessed by her spirit.
Oh, I can almost guarantee you that they did, because I don't know too much about the, like, inner workings of this movie, but I know that Greta Gerwig made those fucking girls, like, learn about those characters until they were, like, had nothing else to learn about them, basically.
Like, that's not Florence Pugh. That is Florence Pugh, and she aged herself backwards to 12 years old.
That is the ghost of fictional Amy March, like, taking over her body.
You know how like, they really went method? Like, if you wanted to, like, get Florence Pugh from a trailer, you just see under the door, it's, like, glowing blue, like, as, like, Amy's soul is just getting sucked in. So stupid. But, I mean, can we even really give a recap for this movie? Because if I'm being honest, not that much happens. It's a lot of just, like, intermingling between these, like, four sisters and, like, a couple of outside forces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this movie, pretty interestingly, does a ton of timeline jumping. It is not a linear story.
Lot.
It's, like, every scene jumps somewhere.
If you're colorblind, you're fucked, because the only way you can differentiate it, besides Amy having bangs or not having bangs, is the color grading.
Other than having basic media literacy and being able to pick up on the tone of what age these people are supposed to be, if you're colorblind, you're totally fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the four sisters, from eldest to youngest, are Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. The story starts out, I think Meg is 16, Jo is 15, Beth is 13, Amy is 12. Florence Pugh is not 12. But they gave her clip-on bangs, and so we're gonna let it slide.
Dude, she rocked it, though. I will say that.
And I guess in Little Women, the story ends with Jo being 30 publishing Little Women. But I think I think canonically it was, like, in the book Little Women, when Laurie proposes to Jo, they're 22. So that gives you kind of a good touch point between when they start, she's 15. When he proposes, they're 22. I think when she's 23, that's when she meets the other guy and goes for him, which is kind of the end of the movie. And I guess that's, let's assume that the very end, when they're, like, at the boarding house, and Little Women is, like, fully in print, that she's about 30.
Oh, yeah.
So
I forget, that is a very big timeline jump.
Yeah, so that's like, the rough age time of it all, I guess. Just specifically for Jo, because she's kind of our protagonist, I would say. But it is pretty equally split amongst the sisters, and it's just kind of them navigating love and life and the Civil War. Not even, though. And their neighbor Laurie, played by Timothée Chalamet, is, like, sort of the best friend growing up, but then obviously he's romantically interested in Jo. He wants to marry her, she turns him down, then he goes to Europe, he finds Amy in Europe. They sort of spark their love affair, and Amy decides that rather than, you know, marrying up in high society, that she's gonna marry Laurie, and they get together. And that's, I mean, basically it. It's a lot of, like, Meg is supposed to marry Rich, but then doesn't, and then Jo is obviously never gonna marry Rich because she's a lesbian. Beth fucking dies. And so then they're like, Amy, it's really on you. And she's like, okay, swag. Basically, Meryl Streep is like, Amy, if you don't fucking marry Rich, this family is doomed. And she's like, challenge accepted. And I guess Laurie is kind of rich.
She does it.
Laurie is kind of rich, I guess.
Laurie's loaded.
Yeah, because I don't understand if Aunt March is Meryl Streep. If she seems pretty rich. Why are they, like, acting...
Also loaded.
Why are they, like, acting like they're so bumfuck poor? When I'm like, can your aunt not just help you out? She lives in, like, a 20-bedroom house. Can they not just go live with their aunt?
No.
I don't get it.
Dude, I think that was exactly it. Like, she was just like, I'm not having this. Like, my brother lost all of his money. I will not entertain this family and help them.
Yeah, I guess...
Which, like, also, I don't think they're shit-fucked poor. You know what I mean?
It seems like mid, because they still, like... Their house is not small. It's, like, a fucking 2-story...
They're middle class.
Yeah. Your middle... What is it? Your upper middle class.
Upper middle class.
Rachel Sennett. Rachel Sennett would have bodied a March sister. I'm sorry.
Which one do you think? Amy, probably,
recasting.
right?
Yeah, she would definitely kill an Amy role. But honestly, I'm like, get her in there as Meg. Even though she's, I think, younger than the actresses, so that wouldn't make any sense. I just don't really like Emma Watson in this role. I just don't think she's...
No.
It's not
giving. Boring and she's dull and, like, I just don't think that she's meant for the screen.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't really... Other than Harry Potter, which is, like, obviously you got to see her act as she, like, grows up, which is a thing of itself. I think she's super mid in... Oh my god, why was I about to say Silver Linings Playbook? What's it called? Perks of Being a Wallflower. She's, like, fine in that, and they just gave her a pixie cut, and they're like, be corked up, and she's like, okay. And then in this, she's also mid. I guess you like her in The Bling Ring, though, right? Would that be your, like...
Yeah. But it's just, like...
Seen.
I think, honestly, she probably just plays too many characters that are like herself. And I think that she's just like, oh, I can just wing this and do my thing. And, like, no. I feel like she probably had to put the most effort into The Bling Ring, and that's why it's a masterpiece. And she hasn't put her pussy into anything that hard ever since.
I'm pretty sure she has her, like, doctorate from Brown or something. I'm pretty sure she, like, stopped acting to, like... go, like, to every Ivy League school and get, like, an honorary master's or something.
Yeah, she did, like, the Natalie Portman thing, but also she's not Natalie Portman.
Oh my god, when I was watching this, Henry had no interest in watching this with me, so he was just kind of, like, out and about in the house, but he would walk by, and he would just yell the name of an actress at the screen that was not correct, and he'd be like, he was like, Natalie Portman! Keira Knightley! And he's like, that's what it's like to watch a movie with you, is you just see a woman and you just start yelling names until you get one right. And I was like, thanks a lot, Henry. But he was like, Emma Stone! Who is that?
Funny enough, Emma Stone was supposed to play Meg, but had to drop the role, I think for, well, not La La Land, I forget what movie it was.
No, it must have been, because I think that was the same year that this was up for the Oscars.
Was it?
Yeah, this came out in 2019, and the 2020 Oscars? Or was it the 2019 Oscars?
No. La La Land was, like, 2017.
Oh, my concept of time is just...
I forget what it was. What's, like, the... God, I can't remember anything right now.
Easy A.
Oh, I think it was The Favorite.
Oh, I don't know. Well...
I have no idea.
Regardless. Is it weird that I think that she would be too old?
Thing.
Is she, like, how old is she? Because I know that Emma Stone was 29 here. How old is...
You mean Emma Watson?
Emma Watson was 29.
She is 34, so she's a year older than Emma Watson.
Oh, okay, so that wouldn't have been too unbelievable. I just feel like Florence Pugh, the entire time she's supposed to be any age younger than 16, she just is kind of, like, hunching and, like, physically trying to make herself smaller, and it's really hilarious to me, because I'm like, look at how little you're trying to be right now. You are just failing. She's like standing, she has her shoulders all slouched, and she kind of like, and I'm like, you are not 12. I know you're trying so hard to be so little, but girl, no.
It's not working.
You're 25.
I love the scene where they have her in the schoolhouse and she's like doing the little doodle of the teacher or whatever, and she is surrounded by actual 12-year-olds. like, girly pop, one of these is not like the other.
Only one of these is Academy nominated actress Florence Pugh. I think this was her nominee, was for this.
Yeah.
Her one nominee so far.
Yeah, which honestly, I forget who won it this year. Because I think, no, was she here? She was up for
supporting.
Was it supporting?
Actress. Yeah.
Can't remember who won it this year, because I think this is Olivia Colman's year.
Saoirse Ronan was up, I believe, for lead actress, and I think the movie was up for Best Picture, as well as, I'm gonna guess, adapted screenplay and a couple other things, but the only thing it won was costume.
Makes sense. Who did the costuming? Is it the one that does everyone's amazing costuming? I can't think of her name.
All I know is your boy Alexander Desplat did the score, which is really makes a difference, I think, between the jarring lighting changes, which typically would annoy me, but I'm like, yeah, okay, like I get that, like, you can't have the happy glowy lighting when Beth is dying, like, you know, we gotta tonally shift it, so that doesn't bother me too much, but between that, the clip-on bangs, and the score really indicates, like where we are in the story, you know, because obviously starts really happy, and then you got the hard dip, and then it's like, you know, kind of happy again at the end. Which the end of this movie, I'm like, ugh. All of you are so happy living in your little New England cottage together, running your little school. Everything ended up great for everyone. Everyone's literally just frolicking. And I'm like, ew, too happy. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, fuck, Beth did die. So maybe they're allowed to have the too happy ending. I'm like, this movie's too happy. And then I just remember the entire, like, second act that's just about Beth having scarlet fever and just, like, slowly dying. I'm like, okay,
horrible.
maybe I can let it slide.
This is one of my comfort movies, but it's also one of my discomfort movies, because, like, it's definitely one of those ones where I'm like, this movie's gonna make me feel fuzzy, and then it's gonna destroy me. So if I need a good cry, I will throw this on, because nothing breaks me more than when you cut from Saoirse Ronan coming downstairs being freaked out thinking Beth died, and, like, her and her mom, and they're like, I don't know what she is, like, housekeeper, like, babysitter. What's her name?
Hannah.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because that's how they're always like, Hannah! They're always just like, anytime she enters the room, they're like, oh, Hannah! I'm like, why do I know her name more than I know any of the March sisters' names? Because they're always just, like, addressing her by full, like, I don't know who you are, but I know you're, I'm like, that's Hannah. That's just Hannah.
Yeah. But, yeah, Jo coming down and, like, her mom and, like, Hannah and Beth are all there. The hard turn from that scene to her rushing down the stairs, just seeing Laura Dern broken at the table, it just snaps me in half.
The mother-daughter casting of Laura Dern and Saoirse Ronan.
Fantastic.
Oh my god, why did no one get to that sooner? Because they both are very well-known established actresses at this point in time. The bone structure of their faces is, like, fucking
almost identical.
Those scenes when they're, like, really having the moments, especially when she's like, I'm angry all the time, you know, they're having that, like, discussion by the bed. I'm like, oh my god, they could biologically be related. Like, they really
has anyone DNA tested these two, actually?
But they just both have that sort of, like long, slender faces and, like, really sharp eyes and, like, sharp features. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I can totally ignore that none of these fucking sisters look a goddamn thing alike.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They all have different fathers. Bob Odenkirk is biological father to none of these girls.
I think he's okay with it. I think it's very much the same thing. It's like, it's very Mamma Mia-esque. He's like, she's not my daughter, but I'll raise her like my own.
Well, he's not really raising anyone, considering he's at war.
At war.
They're like, Dad hasn't been here because he's like, their whole thing is that their parents are such good people that they can't have, like, a normal life because their parents are too good. basically it's like Bob Odenkirk keeps volunteering for wars and like shit to like go help the cause, which this is the Civil War, so I'm like, I guess if you felt some type of way, you might be inclined. But did you know that the Civil War is like the deadliest war in American history? I feel like we don't learn about it that way. I feel like we learned that the Revolutionary War happened for 10,000 years, which isn't true. Well, and then they're like, Civil War, Abraham Lincoln.
Well, it's just because there was no other side. Like, when you think deadliest war, like, it's always talking about, like,
us versus them, yeah.
Us versus them. It was just all of us. So, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. We grew up in Massachusetts, so it really is us versus them, though. Like...
Yeah, facts.
But... he's at war, and also the mom is, like, too charitable for her own good kind of thing. Which, again, this is where it kind of throws me off, because they're always like, we don't have enough money for you to be giving all our shit away. And I'm like, it kind of seems like you do. But she's always, like, volunteering and, like, giving their Christmas breakfast away to the needy.
Yeah, the needy that would eventually kill their daughter.
Also, I'm like, how guilty do the rest of y'all feel that Beth was like, I'm gonna go visit those people that mom told us to, and the rest of them were like, ew, okay, have fun, I guess. And then she fucking dies because of it. Like, damn.
Yeah. Brutal.
Tough. But I guess also they say, they're like, oh, who of you have had scarlet fever before? I didn't realize it was like a chickenpox one and done kind of deal.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, Joe and Meg, you've had it before, so you can stay. But, like, Amy, you haven't had it, so you have to go to Europe.
Oh, yeah, I forget that's why. But, also, who is the actress that plays Beth? Because I feel like I've never seen her in anything else, but I do like her.
She was in that TV show, Sharp Objects, which was, like, based off of the Gillian Flynn. Yeah, she was in that with Amy Adams. I haven't watched it, but I know that that's kind of what she,
Word is known for.
I think she's not American, I want to say, because nobody in this movie is American, except for, I mean, like, none of the sisters. And I'm like, the only person who it's even, like, I'm even questioning it is Meg, Emma Watson. I'm like, Saoirse Ronan can body an American accent. We know that. Dude, Florence Pugh, no doubt. Florence Pugh, undoubtedly, like, like when she talks in a British accent, I'm like, huh? She's like Andrew Garfield to me in that way. That like I see her in an interview and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot you were so British. And then I don't know about the Beth actress, but I feel like her face looks European to me.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, who would you say gave your favorite performance in this, though?
Oh, well, it's undoubtedly Saoirse Ronan is, like... but Florence Pugh is so good, too! I think that, the two of them are giving me different, levels of, like, Saoirse Ronan is giving, like, grounded leading lady, like, her emotional moments, I think, get me a little bit more, but the highs and lows of Amy are... just outstanding, which I think you definitely
the character arc
movie.
Is amazing. And I think, like, Greta just wrote it, that she has some of the funniest jokes, like, the best one-liners in this movie. Like, I have definitely watched, like, the Amy funny moments, like, compilations that'll come up on my TikTok every now and then. Because so good. I think this is, like, some of my favorite, deliveries. She has some of my favorite deliveries in any movie, like, in this.
For sure. And it's crazy to me that there was ever a version of this movie that didn't have her speech between her and Laurie, where she's like, marriage is an economic proposition, and I think we have some power over who we love. I can never make my own money. That whole thing wasn't part of the script until Meryl...
I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman...
Meryl Streep told Greta Gerwig, she was like, there's something missing here that I'm sensing. And it's that...
Meryl!
And she was like, one of these characters needs to, like, express to the audience, like, obviously we get that it's a period piece, but just, like, more directly that, like, these love relationships are far more complicated than just, like, the interpersonal drama of falling in and out of love. It's also about, like, that this defines your position in society and economically for the rest of your life. And that's the biggest struggle as a young woman in this time, is that like if you're Meg and you marry someone poor for love, then that's like you're committing to that. Whereas like I don't know, in modern times you can like fucking pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and like women can work, like literally women cannot work in this universe. And she said that, and that's why I think it's in there twice, because I bet that they incorporated that into like literally the phrase marriage is an economic proposition happens twice, and it's once from Florence to Timothy, and then it's once again from Jo when she's having her like women speech. And I bet that they just threw that in to be like, yeah, one of these will work, and then it actually just worked both times. But I think that like is where we really see, because we're getting a lot of highs from Amy of like she's crying and she's yelling and she's screaming and she's like at 100, but then that scene to me when she's like, I'm not a poet, I'm just a woman, is like so profound that you're like, oh, this character who you think is kind of like the dumb, silly little sister is like actually just as profound and introspective as any of the other sisters. I think that's so important, and it's wild to me that was ever like not really a part of it.
Exactly. Like, I don't know have you ever watched any of the other movie adaptations?
No, I know people compare this one a lot to the one in the 90s with Winona.
The Winona?
I've never seen it.
Well, just like, I think that, and I know Florence Pugh has said a lot about this, about how like so many people have read the book and everyone kind of just hated Amy, which is so like, Amy's probably like one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character. Like, I know that everyone is sort of like puts themselves in like comparison to Jo and everything like that, but Amy's a fucking badass, and I don't think I think this is probably one of the first times that it's been portrayed that way on screen. Maybe in the book. I've never read the book, but
I'm sure I just the book is fat as fuck. The book is like 2 Bibles stacked. The book is huge, so I'm sure we get a lot more intricate highs and lows from each of the girls in the actual book, but I'm so sure that it's the easy default thing to do to paint Amy as like the irritating little sister. Yeah. She's like the butt line of the joke. She did something stupid. She's the baby.
Would you or would you not have let Amy drown after she burned your novel?
Oh my god, why was like falling through ice while you were ice skating the same as like quicksand? Like, did you have that fear when you were a kid? That I feel like it happens so much in media that I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna be ice skating and I'm gonna fall through the ice. And I'm like, dude, I'm only ever ice skating at an indoor rink. Like, why is this a fear?
Not really, because I didn't really ice skate as a kid. But I know what you mean. Because, like, also, like, watching it and seeing Amy, like, fall through the ice, I was like, dang, that, like, you know how heavy ice skates are?
Yeah, those are so true.
Like, I would be, and I'm a good swimmer, I would be down for the count.
I'm a bad swimmer, but I'm a fire ice skater, and I would know to never skate in the middle of the pond. I'm not a fucking idiot like Amy.
Ugh. But
I don't think I would have thought to like get the tree branch though. I think I probably would have panicked and then fell in there with her, you know.
Ugh. What did you think of Timothy's performance? Because I know you are a very big Timmy girl, and I am definitely on that wavelength. I'm not nearly in it as much as you, but this is probably my favorite performance of his.
I'm a Timmy girl in the sense that I can appreciate men being sluts, and I think that we need more like celebrity men who are not afraid to just like be a little whore in public. I don't know, like I think Timothée Chalamet knows. He knows, not even that, but just his little outfits, like his little like the way he dresses for the red carpet. Outfit. Yes, like I think he just knows what we want, but. As far as his acting ability, I always do question whether he is actually a good actor. Which I'm gonna say, like blanket statement, yes. I think Timothée Chalamet is a good, fine actor. But I'm like, is he good, or has he just been fortunate enough to land in the hands of directors that know exactly what to fucking do with him? Because I'm like, Greta Gerwig with Lady Bird and with this a little bit, she's like, yeah, stand up on a chair and, like, talk kind of like an asshole out the window. And, like, yes, that just suits him so well, or like the silly dancing bit. Like I feel like Greta went to
one.
be like, oh, now you're gonna be kind of a pompous asshole, and now you're gonna kind of like let go and act like kind of childlike, you know?
Yeah, you're gonna be the most charismatic on screen right now.
Right, which I feel like as a guy who is just like incredibly conventionally attractive, a little bit gangly in the body, like that's how that's gonna work, right? That's what I'm gonna think is like impressive storytelling is his ability to shift between like brooding and like silly.
He's really just been like right place, right time, like just the most like fortunate in his chain of events in his life.
Like almost or just like has been given brilliant, or like he's like a fine actor but just has happened to be given brilliant instruction. And I almost feel the same way like about Dune, right? Like he's been put into this role in this character where the costuming, the set design, the direction, everything is just like aiding him and being his best self, which I think you could maybe say about a lot of actors, but I try to think of times where he truly is the person carrying the thing rather than what I feel. And honestly, in the scene where he proposes to Sir, I think their chemistry is just so fucking electric that that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you, Timmy. You can't act. Like, boots the house down. Yeah. Fucking Houston, I am deceased. When he's like, I love you, Joe. I love you, Joe. Is that all? Yeah. Like, I was like, just, you're sending me. And so there are a few moments where I'm like, damn, I gotta hand it to him. Because I'm like, is he a good actor? And then I'm like,
he certainly is. But I think he has worked with incredible directors. Like, he was in Interstellar, Lady Bird, The French Dispatch. Like, come on now. And he's in Call Me by Your Name. Oh my god.
Right, I think they were just like, just like be Twinkie in Europe, and it's like, look at him. Obviously, that was gonna work out. Like,
that's who he is. Have you ever seen Beautiful Boy?
Yeah, he's great in that as well, and I think that is a performance that again kind of proved to me that he does have the range beyond just being like a pretty boy on the screen that I can fawn over.
But like also like think of like The King.
Mid.
Like, he did nothing.
Yeah. That bowl cut was doing something for me, though. I mean, that movie was just mid all around, though. But,
yeah, I totally get what you're saying, though. I think he has had, a lot of grace with the directors that he's gotten to work with.
And I think maybe he's just really moldable. It's, like... Maybe.
Absolutely, which probably does make him a good actor.
Yeah, for sure. His sister is in an HBO show, and she's awful. I mean, I'm sure she's a fine person.
What show?
It's called The Sex Lives of College Girls. It's a bad show on its own, but
I didn't realize she was in that.
Sis cannot act. But she's also like in a raunchy, basically redo of Girls.
Didn't Mindy Kaling write that or some shit?
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. Haven't bothered.
I want to make a new rule for all movies that at the exact halfway point, Bob Odenkirk, regardless of whether he has been integrated into the plot or not, does show up and say the name of the film.
Yeah. I think that's a good one.
At exactly whatever the halfway point is. For
Mm-hmm.
every movie.
I like that.
For the rest of history.
Hopefully we see him in Dune 2 then.
You just watched Dune for the first time, right?
I did just watch Dune for the first time, and I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but I forget how much of a little sci-fi slut I can be, and I loved it. I do think that, for me, Timmy's too Twinkie. You cannot convince me that that man is fighting against someone double his size and killing him. Like, no.
Well, I
don't believe it.
That's the thing.
You can't tell me that that's Oscar Isaac's son.
Yeah, in what universe?
In what universe? I saw Oscar Isaac's naked body in that, like, hanging out of that chair. Like, you're telling me that man produced that child? That gangly little string bean?
To me, though, the gangliness is what makes Timothée Chalamet so intriguing and attractive, is that, like, his relationship, so to turn it back to Little Women, his relationship between him and Saoirse Ronan is always that in any given moment, I know she could break his arm, and I love that. Like in Lady Bird.
You talked about this a lot before.
Like in Lady Bird, though, like when they're fighting after she loses her virginity, I'm like, dude, just break his arm. You could do it. He's got hollow bird bones. I swear it. Just crush him in your fist. Like,
I wish that, I wish that Zendaya played his character in Dune and they just role swapped.
Oh my god. I also love how she is, like, the poster child of the Dune franchise, and she's in the movie for, like, 6 minutes.
Literally.
I mean, I know she's gonna be in the second one a lot more, but, like her and Timmy did the entire press tour for Dune, and I'm like, girly, you are hardly in this film. But I love it.
Yup. Yeah. Oh, fuck. What was I going to ask you? I have no idea. I asked you this before, actually. I recall now. Do you think that he will ever bulk up, or that he will just stay gangly little Timothée Chalamet for all of his life? Because how old is he? Like, what, 28?
I think he's closer to our age. I think he's like 26. I don't know. I want to say he was born in 1997, but I could be wrong about that. Google it. I don't know. It's weird to speculate about, like, people's ability to change their body, especially actors, because I feel like a lot of people would have, like, never guessed that about Christian Bale, you know, like, way back in the day, and yet we had seen, like, some horrifically borderline medical disaster body transformations from him, and I'm not really one to support anyone, like, doing that for a role, because I just think like there's no need. Like, I don't know, I think I hate fat suits in acting, but I also hate the idea of, like, actors, like, gaining or losing a drastic amount of weight for roles. So I don't really know where I stand. I think throughout our life, maybe. I really can't picture him being like Marvel actor ripped, though. Like Chris Hemsworth's body on Timothée Chalamet. I just, like, literally, my mind cannot conceive it.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I'm not. I think when it's stuff like Christian Bale wise, like when he, like, dropped down to, like, 93 pounds for a role, like, yeah, fucked. But, like, actors, like, drinking ice cream, like Ryan Gosling going the melted ice cream route for, what is it? What movie was it?
The Lovely Bones.
For The Lovely Bones. Like, I support actors doing that, because at the same time, like, it is their job. I guess. This is your job, to transform your body and all that shit. Like, they have the time of day to...
That is true.
To actually get shredded, spend 6 hours in the gym, and do that.
I suppose, if like... I just hate the precedent that it's like, oh my god, he got so fat and then so ripped, all in, like, a 6-week, you know, I'm like, your body's probably not meant to, like, do that.
Yeah. You know who I support the most? Oh god, who was it? Not Charlie Day. Who's the other one from It's Always Sunny?
Oh, Rob McElhenney. That was so funny, though. Because, I mean, you know, that was purely his own. Like, nobody asked him to do that.
Yeah, no one asked him to do that. Like, he just decided that his character needed to gain, like, an absurd amount of weight. So he did it. And then he just got jacked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he said, though, he's like, I have the disposable funds to have a private chef and to work out every day, so, like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess more when it feels like a choice. But yeah, I don't know, I really can't picture Timmy not being his skinny little self, but maybe
only time will tell.
I know, it's the same thing with, like, will Tom Holland ever get, like, because he also, I guess, has problems.
I think I could see it more with Tom Holland than Timmy. Because, like, Timmy's got the body that, like, was it?
Slender Man?
I saw someone tweet this, like if he was, like, born in the 60s, like, French New Wave directors would send him around like a blonde.
Yup.
So, like, I really do think that it's his brand at this point.
No, and I think that it's, like, there was this thing when all those photos got leaked of him and whatever girl in that hot tub or whatever, and he
in the pool.
And he did an interview after,
wasn't it Lily Rose Depp?
Maybe. But I remember afterwards he was like, oh yeah, that was just like so embarrassing because all the comments were like about my body and how like skinny and like emaciated I looked, and like and he was like, and it was just like upsetting and embarrassing. And to me, I just like, I think we're entering an era more where the jacked Marvel guy is not the pinnacle of like the female gaze, I guess. Like where we're seeing at least just slightly marginally a widening of like what body types are considered attractive. Like, yeah, you can be gangly, skinny, being criticized by the tabloids for looking too skinny Timothée Chalamet, and yet every young straight girl in America like wants to fuck him. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think the more we can edge that out and just
that is every alt girl with like a neon streak in her hair. That's every girl's boyfriend.
Every hot bisexual girl's boyfriend who looks like a drowned rat. That's Timothée Chalamet. Oh my god, have you been seeing all those things on TikTok that like boys are either rat hot, turtle hot, or, like, they're just, like, saying all these random animals, but for, like, I guess for girls, it's, like, you're either a bunny, a deer, or a bird, or whatever, and for boys, you're either, like, a rat, a turtle, or a puppy, or something. It's so weird. They're like, what kind of animal hot is he? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But Timothée Chalamet is always the poster child for rat hot.
Hold on, what were they for girls? A bunny?
It's like you're either like
a deer.
It's like a bunny, a deer. I would have to look. It's just some stupid fucking TikTok shit that is just like melting my brain. But there's like a filter.
I'm none of those.
There's like
I'm beetle hot.
I'm a scarab.
Oh my god! Wait, what are they called? Oh my god. Those like it's like a really like one of those really ancient like ammonite or whatever. I'm like Mesopotamic, like Arahot or some shit.
I'm an isopod.
I'm isopod hot.
Damn, girl, you looking like a horseshoe crab. But they're just like, oh, are you bunny hot or deer hot? And then like the camera swings over to me pushing 1,000-pound ball of my own shit, and it's like, nah, she dung beetle hot. Like, but yeah, Timothée Chalamet is always the like, he looks like a rat, but in a hot way. I feel like my friend Rachel and I always said that he could play the live action the rat from Flushed Away. If they were gonna
here's the thing. I heard something about this recently that Matty Healy was talking about how like his uncle was one of the writers of that movie, and he is like directly like that character is directly based off of Matty Healy.
Honestly, checks out. I'm pretty sure he also is in the TikToks as being rat hot, so
yeah.
Checks out.
Yeah, no. See, I would want Timothée Chalamet to play Willem Dafoe's rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox.
That would suit him, I think. But he could never replace Mr. Dafoe. I want Willem Dafoe in the little French outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we get into our regularly scheduled programming, though?
Yes. So I feel like it's hard to play, like, Fuck, Marry, Kill with the sisters, because I think it's they all end up as adults, right?
Yeah.
They're all adults at the end. So do we want to
they're adults.
Let's do the four sisters and Fuck, Marry, Kill fight?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna fight Joe, because I want... if I'm gonna fight someone, I want it to be like an even match. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, do you want to hear something wild? When I was reading the little IMDb facts about, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff of this movie, I guess Florence Pugh, behind the scenes, was like, Saoirse, I need you to punch me in the face. And she was like, what? And she's like, if we're gonna do, like, sisterly roughhousing and fighting, I think you should punch me in the face. so that we will really have that on-screen chemistry. And Saoirse was like, okay, and she fucking decks her in the face. And then they're like, yeah, we were so much more comfortable just, like, being physically rough with each other after that. And I just think that's so fucking funny. Because I, too, would be like,
really
hi,
funny.
Saoirse, really nice to meet you. Would you mind just a quick...
punching me in the face?
Just a quick... to the cheek.
That makes so much sense because, like, that scene where they're brawling after Amy lights her novel on fire. Yeah, I can see that. I think that's very smart of Florence. I totally get that. But yes, that being said, I want Joe, March, and I to be in a steel cage match and just to really go at it. So I'm gonna fight Joe. I didn't think this through. I'm gonna kill Meg.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, easy. I love Amy. I'm gonna marry Amy, and then I'm gonna fuck Beth.
You're gonna get scarlet fever. I'm sorry, but those transfers of fluids are highly contagious.
What if I've already had scarlet fever? I'll be fine. I'll be okay. Listen, I need to give her she's too weak to do anything herself, all right?
Practice safe sex and don't fuck someone if they have scarlet fever. Just
let me let her nut once before she croaks.
Oh my god. By the seaside. Honestly, I feel like old-timey people were really onto something when they were like, sick people need to go sit by the ocean. Like,
dude, they're right. I've done that before. It helps a little bit.
I truly need to just mentally decompress by a body of water. Mm-hmm. I feel it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I feel like I'm going to take a slightly different path from you. I'm going to marry Jo, because I feel like her qualms about...
She's too much for me.
About traditional marriage are, I can get behind that. And I also think she's the only one of these four that's gay. So I don't really see that marriage working out elsewise. I similarly am going to kill Meg, fuck her, I'll fight Beth. Because that's gonna be easy as fuck. Like, I'm sorry.
So you don't like a challenge.
Absolutely not, no. And then I'm gonna fuck Amy. But I specifically, I want the when Timothy's, untying her little smock.
Yeah.
No, nothing non-sexual has ever been more sexually tense in a film ever.
Do you think Amy's a pillow princess, or do you think she actually just works really hard in bed?
I feel like the thing about, Laurie's character is that he needs to be bossed around. And he loves being bossed around by Jo, but Jo doesn't see it as being, a romantic, compatibility thing. And Laurie's like, no, you don't get it. I need to be told what to do. And she's like, nah, you're a little bitch. But then Amy's like, no. But I also will tell you what to do in a wife kind of way. And he's like, damn, all right, I'm set. So I feel
yeah.
Laurie likes to be bossed around. So I feel like Amy's kind of she's in charge,
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely pegs him.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. He's like,
That's the entire dynamic.
Yeah. That's Laurie's whole deal. When you think about it.
Okay. So out of the whole movie then.
Oh,
just fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck the guy that Jo ends up marrying.
Ooh, he's so fine.
He is if Timothée Chalamet bulked up and somehow got more European. It's I love the scene where Jo brings him home, or he comes to the house, and Laurie's like, who is that? Who is this yassified version of me? Who is this? Who? I love that.
He's having a stroke.
He is fine as hell, except I think I do not take criticism well, so I think he would criticize one thing about me, and I would end it all. But he's so fine. And then I'm gonna I'll marry Aunt March, because she's on her way out. And if they left me that house, I would not have done the charitable thing and turned it into a school. Honey.
Nope.
I would have spent that inheritance
Absolutely.
And then I'm gonna I'll fucking kill Meg's husband. He's so boring. I'm like, can you give me one piece of, like, intrigue that makes me understand why that's the thing I think this movie lacked, is that her, like, marrying for love did not resonate with me.
What love?
It did not resonate with me
I don't know anything about his character.
Yeah, their relationship was so dry to me that I'm just like, what? Okay. So I'll kill him.
Yeah.
He's boring as fuck.
Yeah. I am going to... I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to fuck Joe's European man. Yeah. For obvious reasons. I am going to marry Marmee.
Slay.
Because, I mean, again, obvious reasons.
She's the mother I never had, the sister everyone would want, the friend everyone deserves. I do not know a better person.
Yeah, literally. And I'm going to kill the child that had scarlet fever, that gave Beth scarlet fever.
Oh my god, save justice for Beth. It's like, would you kill baby Hitler? It's like, would you kill the baby that gave Beth scarlet fever?
Absolutely.
But I think in the process, that would also mean you get scarlet fever. Unless you snipe it.
No. Yeah, I can just light the house on fire.
Oh my god.
And so what are you eating and drinking while you're throwing your little woman party?
So I feel like we kind of watched this movie unseasonably, out of season. I feel like this is a fucking Christmas movie through and through.
It is a Christmas movie.
Because not only is there snow, but there is a whole Christmas sequence. So I feel like you cannot be doing this shit in the summer. Like, I watched it was 70 degrees out and all my windows were open, and I'm like, this just doesn't sit right with me. So you have to be having your party, I think, around the winter time. So I modeled my food and drink around, like, cozy vibes to aid in I don't know, it needs to be snowing out, you know what I mean? And for your drink, especially during the summertime, I'm really into making my own simple syrups. Especially, I feel like a lot of people grow mint, so I'm into making, like, mint simple syrup, but you can do, you know, ginger, whatever you want. So I think wintertime, you do a rosemary honey simple syrup, and you make some of that, and I feel like rosemary is just very, I don't know, to me, Christmassy, wintry, but also, like, colonial New England. So you use your, like, rosemary honey simple syrup, and then you can make any cocktail of your choosing. I feel like it would go well with, like, a whiskey or bourbon, but that's not really me. So I probably would use it in, like, a mule or, like a vodka drink. But I think just anything with, like, a little sprig of rosemary in it is... I
love a little sprig of rosemary.
For, you know, garnish, that's the vibe for your drink. And then I think any, like, cozy winter food, but I went for, there's this breakfast scene where they give all their breakfast away, but then they get the even bigger breakfast because karma. And it's a lot of, like, pastries and baked goods. So I think you make, like, apple turnovers. You just get a little puff pastry, put whatever fruit. I think, like, apple and cinnamon is very this movie vibes. And just pop that in the oven, little apple turnovers with your little rosemary cocktail.
Dara, you and I are on the exact same wave today. Because I agreed, honey, I was thinking mead originally, but no one's out here drinking fucking mead. So I paired this with one of my favorite drinks, and I disagree with you. I think that this is also a good spring movie, and I think that's just, like, in my head, like, I think about all of the scenes that aren't really, like, the Christmassy scenes, and there's definitely, like, a lot of spring influence here for me. So I think that you make a bee's knees, which is a honey simple syrup. I like your idea with the rosemary. Honey simple syrup, gin, and lemon juice. Personally, I've used a orange gin before with it, and it's really good. Yeah, very fruity. And with that, I agree. You have a pastry. I said a lemon blueberry scone.
Oh my god. Wow, we really are on the same page today. I feel like the two obvious is, like, you roast a chicken and you have, like, a fucking hot toddy or something. I'm like, too obvious. But
yeah,
I love this little Christmas morning movie party we're planning.
Yeah. And then what are you going to follow this movie up with? I am going to go the morbid route, and Honestly, you could probably watch this movie for the movie I'm going to suggest first, and then this movie, because it'll feel better, because it's not nearly as heartwarming as Little Women, but I think you watch another movie about sisters, and you watch The Virgin Suicides.
Hey, I mean, a sisterly through line is a sisterly through line.
Sisterly through line, and I mean, written by or directed by an influential female director, Sofia Coppola. So
I support it. Mine is we're up and we are staying up, and not are we following up this movie with, but rather intersplicing. Is that you are simultaneously going to bounce back and forth between Little Women and Mamma Mia, because you've got the sort of family storylines, but I also think that there are some very specific moments that can overlap. It's sort of like, what is it, like if you play Dark Side of the Moon while you watch Wizard of Oz or something like that. It's like if you play Little Women at the same time overlaid as Mamma Mia, I think you're gonna find a lot of parallels. And I want specifically what set this off to me is the moment that Meryl Streep is having her speech to Amy, where she's telling her that, like, she has to marry rich, and she's, like, the last savior of the family, and that she has to, like, go up into high society and find a rich husband. Hard cut to money, money, money. Like, because you're getting your back and forth Meryl, and then you're also getting your same themes, right? I want, like, when Joe is, like, rejecting Lori, and then hard end of Mamma Mia when they decide to call the whole wedding off, Something like that. So you can just intersplice these two films. I think it'd be great. And I think the vibes would just be consistently phenomenal.
Yeah. When they sing Our Last Summer and it's just Beth and all of them, like, actually having a beautiful summer day on the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal. I like this. I like that idea a lot, Dara. Out of 10, what are you going to give this movie? I am going to give it a hard 8. I think this movie is great. I think it's, honest, I mean, mind you, it came out, 2018? But I still think it's pretty timeless. It holds up really well. Like, I've seen Lady Bird a handful of times, kind of got sick of Lady Bird after seeing it, 2-3 times. I could watch this movie over and over.
See, I feel a little bit opposite. I feel like I can watch Lady Bird over and over, but this movie, I can have it on, but I don't think I would, specifically sit down to watch it.
Okay.
Again, by choice, really. I think I would turn it on for vibes, for sure. I feel like maybe somewhat similarly to Lady Bird, I would have it on to, tune into those high moments of funny dialogue, but I think this movie, the story is not super compelling, which is fine, because it makes up for it in a million other ways, but as far as, movies that I will go back to time and time again are movies that the story is really getting me. For me.
Yeah.
And this just isn't that. So I'll give it a 7.5, like a soft 8, but a 7.5. I think it's great. I think it is successful on so many fronts. I love that Greta Gerwig did not try to modernize this story, that she kept it a period piece, kept it pretty true to the source material. I think mad respect, because I think a lot of modern directors would be like, we're doing a hot modern spin on Little Women. No, thank you.
Keep it simple.
But no, I think this movie is good. I just think that it's maybe lacking a little bit of high energy pacing or intriguing storytelling for me. But it's still very good.
That makes sense.
Love it. Great performances all around. Overall, it's a thumbs up. If it's a yes or no scale, it's definitely a yes. And here we are, 1 week further into MAYryl Streep. We will be continuing with other Meryl films. We also have potentially some guests coming up in future months, but as always, please write in if you have other podcasts you listen to that you really like, that you think we could collab with. Just DM us that, but also DM us movie suggestions, chocolate or vanilla theme ideas, month theme ideas, all of it. We love to hear from all of you. You are so great. Also, this past week, our podcast surpassed 100,000 downloads. So that was our benchmark. So thank you
That's
all.
Huge.
Thank you to every single person who has ever listened. It is absolutely wild. And we love you all so much. And goodbye and good night.